Welcome back, explorers. I'm David, that's Wesley, and this is the Trailcast.
The weekly show that gets so far off track, you'll have to stick around and see just where we end up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 76th Hunger Games.
That's right, today we are talking about Mockingjay Part 2. So David, I don't know what you're doing right there, but we are today talking about Mockingjay Part 2. But before we do that, I would assume we're doing, and I did research for this, so we better be, but I would assume we're doing Trailcast News.
That is correct. Today's show, we're going to kick it off with Trailcast News, followed by the main body of our podcast, which of course we're talking about Mockingjay Part 2, followed by Trailcast Trivia and What's New with You.
We have a jam-packed show, so if you're interested in anything related to that, please stick around and you can listen to it. You know, David, we need to start adding in time codes so people
I
can
know,
skip around to what they want to.
I need to do that in the because if I put that in the description, it'll break up the time bar on YouTube. I need to start doing that because make it easier. I just keep forgetting to write down my timestamps whenever I'm editing these, so you have a
So,
you have a
for anyone who's watching this currently, and if you're not watching this, well, you're gonna find this out. Uh, I have a cat on my shoulder, and we have recently gotten a new cat. It was a stray that we found out in the yard. My wife originally was going to take it to the shelter, but because of the way a lot of cats are, well, there's an abundance of cats, so shelters are kind of booked up in the cat area. So they were not taking cats. What are you doing? Okay, I will accept that. So they're not taking cats. So my wife let her go back out in the yard. She didn't really know what to do, and she was under the impression that I was not going to want to keep the cat, which my first thought was no. Well, then I went out one night. I heard the cat in the yard, and she was in a tree, and I went out and got her, and I felt bad for her. I gave her some food, and she showed me a bunch of love, and well, now I have a cat. Um, so that was Fluffles. That's her name. I guess Mrs. Fluffy Pants is Mr. Fluffy Pants from Phineas and Ferb is the reference. She's a black and white cat. But Fluffles is the cat now. So now we have, I guess, a third cat. The second one isn't even really around. I guess it's the first one because we had JJ first, but she's not really around much anymore. But enough about me. Nobody actually cares about me. We probably lost 99% of our viewers, whatever few viewers we have. So anyways, David, let's go ahead and jump into Trailcast news. Fluffles will be in and out because she's in here and she'll probably come up a couple
yeah.
times. But
Well,
anyways,
I went first last time, so I'll let you go ahead and go first with your stories this time.
all right. Well, I have three. I have three of them, and I don't know if you want me to just go through them all, or do you want me to want to alternate? How do you want to do this?
Well, I've got several, so we can alternate. That's fine. Hopefully, we don't have any
Alrighty.
duplicates, but I have enough that if we do have duplicates, I can
Well,
pass them on.
I have two that I feel like you probably won't have, and then I have one that it's kind of just I'm added in here because we're probably going to talk about it anyways. My first one, which is the one I'm going to talk that I was talking about there, is about the Marvels. Do you have an article about the Marvels, David?
I did have one, but I'll let you go ahead and.
Well, we can talk about this and voice our opinions. David, I have not seen the Marvels. Have you seen the Marvels?
No, I have not.
That is why it's performing so poorly, David, because you and I have not gone and see it. The Marvels is the lowest grossing film in the MCU. The lowest grossing film since The Incredible Hulk. Its opening weekend was only around, let's see, what does the number say? 47 million. Chump change. Right, that's pocket change. David, that's nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Little money. The Incredible Hulk was the last one that did poorly. Was used to be the lowest one, which was around 55 million. And then Ant-Man also was pretty low in an opening weekend with around 57 million. But it's pretty bad because the Marvels Um, this cat is gonna have to learn some manners. The Marvels had a budget of somewhere around 200 to 250 million, from what I heard. I don't remember if there was a specific number. I think I heard it was fluctuating somewhere in that range. Um, so they clearly did not make much back. Um, there's a bunch of different things that people are thinking about it, thoughts that people have with it as to why the Marvels didn't do well. Um, Now the biggest story is that they're saying, well, this movie's done so poorly as a sequel to the billion-dollar movie that was Captain Marvel. When in all reality, Captain Marvel only did well because of it coming off the heels of uh Endgame, or is it
It was
Infinity War,
Infinity
right?
War. It was Infinity War, yeah.
Or Infinity War.
But yeah, it's also got a 62 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's the critic
Mhm.
score on Rotten Tomatoes, which that's
It's
one of
trash.
the lowest Marvel scores.
It's not that great, but it does have an 85% audience
That
rating.
is true.
However, all this is from lower, like less people are weighing in on this.
Mm.
So the people who did go and watch it apparently enjoyed it, which that's what I've heard. I've heard that it's a pretty good movie, and if it was at another time in Marvel's history, it wouldn't have been that bad of a movie. But because people are having the superhero fatigue and just not really caring with what Marvel's having to do right now, they're not going to waste their time and spend their money and go out and watch, this kind of movie.
Mm.
Now, I do have to ask this, David. Do you know or have you seen the post-credit scene from the Marvels?
I have not.
Okay, have you heard anything about it?
Nope.
You want it spoiled for you?
Sure.
Good, because I was going to do it anyways. All right, for anyone who actually cares about the Marvels and is planning on seeing it, go ahead, flip over this part, and we'll go from there. Um, the end credit scene, uh, is a X-Men cameo. So Marvel is actually finally bringing in the X-Men. So what happens is, whatever Rambo's character's name is, uh, so the whole entire plot basically of this movie is that the beehive thing that they show in Guardians of the Galaxy, but they hop through to
Mm.
basically time or jump through the space.
Yeah.
Um, that's all kind of shattering from what I understand. Basically, there's like cracks and holes in the universe, basically. So I guess like multiverses collide, something along those lines. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, I did not see the movie. I've just seen some recaps of it. But anyways, in trying to save the day and close those holes, Rambo, whatever her name is, if I'm saying the right one, Carol's friend, the one from WandaVision, um, she basically traps herself on the other side to close it. Well, she wakes up in this post-credit scene, and her mother's by the bedside there. And she's like, "Oh, it's my mother!" Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. And then this girl is like, she's like, what are you talking about? Well, it turns out it's actually not her mother, because this version of her mother never had a daughter. And then Hank McCoy, Mr. Beast, walks in, and starts talking and all. And apparently this is like Photon or something, is this girl's name or whatever. She's one of the X-Men, or they rearrange things or whatever. But he's like, oh, she's finally awake, yada yada yada. He's played by the guy who played Beast in um the original X-Men movies before they did the young X-Men,
Mm.
whatever the actor's name is. But apparently it's played by him. Um and he's like, "Oh, well, we'll talk to Professor X that you're up. Tell him you're up." So this is not in the universe from the Doctor Strange movie, because Professor X is still alive. Also, people are thinking that this might be from the Days of Future Past X-Men universe. After they fix the timeline, this is like basically it being played out. this is later on in the timeline. Bunch of theories, but nonetheless, the X-Men are technically now a part of the MCU. Disney is finally using their acquired Fox rights in the MCU. What is this cat doing?
I mean, it's about time. And sticking on the note of Marvel, I actually have another thing relating to Marvel here. If you're done talking about the Marvels,
I'm done. I've been done.
so
I just wanted to talk about that.
yeah. So sticking on the note of Marvel, so you know all the stuff. I think it was earlier this year. All the stuff with Jonathan Majors, the actor who
Yeah.
played Kang.
Hmm.
So it's come out recently that Disney and Marvel have been considering scrapping the whole Kang arc. And
Hmm.
instead of having Kang as the next big bad for the MCU, bringing in Doctor Doom. Which, okay, I think that's what they
I've
should have done to
heard
begin
that
with.
there people talking about doing a Doom Dynasty or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what they should have done to begin with because I, I absolutely love the character of Doctor Doom as a villain. Now, here's what my ideal storyline would have been for this, which would have been really cool. So they could still introduce him as a villain at first, but do kind of like what they did with Loki, where like he was a villain, but then like they defeated him, but he's not really gone. He's still
Hmm.
continuing character, and then introduce Galactus, have Doom help them defeat Galactus, and then Doom steal the power cosmic, and you can kind of have a nerfed version of the God King Doom arc from the comics. Because in that, Doom
Oh,
stole the power of the Beyonder, which basically made him the most powerful character in Marvel Comics, which is saying a lot because there are a lot of very powerful characters. I think in that arc, Doom killed the Living Tribunal.
wow.
So,
Um,
like I said, a nerfed version of that.
can you think of anyone off the bat that you would be like, I would love to see this person playing Doctor Doom?
No one immediately jumps to mind. I don't know. I feel like you brought that up because you have someone you think.
No, no ideas. I was just curious if you had an idea or not. I really don't have no thoughts on that.
Hmm. I kind of want in a situation like that. I kind of want them to get a lesser known actor.
Mm-hmm. Kind of make them big.
Yeah, like
Um,
kind of go back to like the beginnings of the MCU, or like almost like well, I guess Chris Evans, but like other than and I mean and RDJ was big back in the '90s, but his career was kind of already gone.
Pettering
It was
out.
kind of a revival, but you know what I mean, like revival to his
Yeah.
career. But you know what I mean, like kind of casting like lesser known, not as big actors.
This cat
And it's not off
has
the
lost
table because we do
manners.
have a Fantastic Four movie coming up soon.
Which could be a similar way, like you're saying, with them introducing the character of Doctor Doom, like they did with Loki in the Thor movie.
Hmm.
Um, well, this is not well, okay, this is starting on the topic of Marvel. Um, but Kevin Feige, David, Kevin Feige, are you aware of who this is? It's
You
kind
know,
of a lesser known name when it
I've
comes to
heard
Marvel.
I've heard the name before, but you can go on and explain who that is.
Yeah, well, okay, so this little guy over here, yeah, he apparently, unbeknownst to me, he basically runs Marvel for Disney. Like
Wait, really?
crazy, right? Some guy named Kevin, like
Yeah.
I thought he was from Home Alone. Um, anyways, so Apparently, because he does still work for Disney, Kevin at one point apparently had a Star Wars movie in the works. How would you feel about a Kevin Feige directed, written, whatever, Star Wars movie?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know if you'd like it?
See, here's the thing. Like, I don't know if I would trust Kevin Feige with Star Wars.
But he did such a great job with Marvel, so I mean,
I mean, okay, like we said in the past before, like look at Ryan Johnson. He did a
mm,
great job with Knives Out. He did a terrible job with The Last Jedi. So just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you can do Star Wars.
that's very true. That's very true. Well, you have nothing to worry about because any rumors or anything that Kevin Feige was going to have a Star Wars movie, well, it's not happening. It's confirmed. It's scrapped. The whole idea is scrapped. So, I don't even know. The article that I found is just basically talking about they had a script for something, um, but the whole thing has been scrapped. Um, so I had seen some things about Kevin Feige having a movie, but I don't know what it was. This article doesn't mention what it was. Like you said, I'm not entirely sure if I want him in Star Wars. I feel like he's probably a good director, but like the transition like DC, Star Wars and Marvel are not the same,
Mm.
you know. So I don't know. Like I'm still on the Dave Filoni train, and Kevin Feige just let him stick to Marvel.
Like, okay,
You know.
Dave Filoni has proved himself. So far, I think Jon Favreau has proved himself. So
Mhm.
let them handle Star Wars.
Hey, okay. So Kevin Feige is apparently a huge Star Wars fan, which is one reason why Dave Filoni and Kevin Feige both are, or Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are both really good when it comes to directing and writing these stories. Jon Favreau, big guy in the MCU. Hey, maybe it's another. I mean, hey, Jon Favreau had a big hand in The Mandalorian. I mean, basically coming up with the whole
Maybe,
thing. So
but
I mean, hey, so hey, but it doesn't matter. It's scrapped.
mm. Honestly, if they want to get someone else involved in Star Wars, I don't know if he would want to do it, but just things that I've heard, or stories that I've heard, like him in production of Clone Wars, I think that Sam Witwer could direct Star Wars, could direct a Star Wars project.
Right,
I don't
correct. Yeah, I mean,
I don't I mean he doesn't have the background to, so he doesn't have the
mm,
resume, but he could at least be a consultant on a Star Wars project because he knows the lore.
I feel like you could definitely say he could write a Star Wars
Yeah.
movie. I don't know because there's so much that goes into directing stuff that
Mm.
we obviously have no idea about,
Like I
and
said,
that's something that definitely takes time to probably learn
like I
how
said,
to handle all
like I said,
those people.
I would say he would be a very good consultant for a Star Wars project.
Yeah, yeah. And they probably do. I mean, I know Dave Filoni has said before that he'll talk to Sam Witwer about different things that
Because
he's doing, and Sam will be like, "That's not right. You can't do that." And Dave's
well,
like, "Oh, why did I not remember this?"
because I remember that was the one story I heard of. It was like one of the first recordings that Sam Witwer had done for Maul, and they were doing a script read, and there was something in the script that Sam Witwer had just said like, no, that's wrong. It should be like this. And Dave Filoni just kind of sat there and just like, you know, you're right. And Ashley Eckstein was the first was said like that's the first time I've seen anyone out nerd Dave.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that story before, and that's an amazing
Mm,
classic story. That's a great story.
yeah.
Um, so David, continue because you have more stories.
Well, kind of I guess sticking on this topic of who you'd want to direct a Star Wars movie. What would you think if Zack Snyder directed a Star Wars movie?
Zack Snyder. Okay, first off, you cannot go over there. You can't be over here on my laptop. Zack Snyder directing the. Okay, I do feel like he gets some flack. I don't know how I'd feel about Zack Snyder. Is this another one of those little whammies where it's like, well, forget all how you feel because it's not happening, or is he actually going to be doing? I saw something earlier about it, but I don't actually remember. How should I
So,
feel about it, David?
okay, so Netflix has a movie coming out next month called Rebel Moon,
Hmm.
and it was directed by Zack
Hmm.
Snyder. Or actually, I think it was written and directed by Zack Snyder. And
That
basically, it's Zack Snyder's take on Star Wars.
This is a Rebel Moon. That's the one that takes that. That'll be like during 3 and 4, right?
Well,
When's it supposed to take place?
it's not Star Wars.
Oh, it's a take on Star. Okay, so that's the thing is I'd heard a bunch about this
Hmm.
project going on, Rebel Moon, and I was like, oh, Star Wars, I guess.
Hmm.
Rebels. It sounds
Yeah, no,
so. It's
it's
not
very
Star
like
Wars.
so they just released a trailer for it. Or Disney just released a
I have
trailer
to
for it.
watch that.
I watched it. It gives me a
Wait,
lot
Disney's
of
making it?
no, sorry, it's Netflix. Sorry,
Okay.
yeah, Netflix. But it's the trailer gave me a lot of like Star Warsy Dune vibes,
Uh huh.
which yeah, Star Wars pulled a lot of inspiration from Dune, so that's probably where a lot of that comes from, you know. But
Yeah.
it gives me a lot of Dune vibes.
Um. Okay. And it's a movie or a TV show?
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Okay.
All right, actually,
Um.
the what's coming out in December is Rebel Moon Part One. So evidently, there's going to be multiple parts of this movie.
Zack Snyder, dude, he just lays himself down for multiple things, and then he has a job if it flops, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah.
Got to sign those big contracts. Well, I have the trailer here pulled up because I'm curious, and I'm kind of trying to stall so I can keep watching it instead of having to. Ooh, there's a king that died.
Mm.
That was some fire.
And
I'm
there's
trying to
also,
stall so I can watch it, and before I have to go to my next vertical.
mm-hmm.
But you have something else you're gonna say? Keep saying. Keep talking.
But like I said, it gives me a lot of Dune vibe, but it also has got like some like more fantasy aspects because there's a lot of like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like I saw fantasy creatures and stuff in the trailer,
Hmm.
but then you get like the Star Warsy kind of like ships and everything. So it
I don't
looks
know.
interesting.
In all honesty, it does look interesting. Well, there's some lightsabers. But
Mm.
that's probably the first bit there where this lady or whatever is dual wielding two lightsaber looking mist things. That's probably the first instance in watching this that I'm seeing, oh, this looks like Star Wars. It does look a lot more like Dune or like just it's sci-fi in general where it's like, oh, it's a futuristic um
So
thing, you
I
know?
think it's gonna be more like dark sci-fi fantasy, similar
What's
to the
Zack
way.
Snyder?
Well, yeah, because like, so Star Wars is like it is technically sci-fi, but it's
There's a
fantasy.
griffin.
It's fantasy, and so I feel like that's kind of the way this is going. Like, it's still technically sci-fi, but it's really
Hmm.
fantasy.
Well, yeah, there's a griffin right there.
Yeah,
So,
and that's what I mean. It has a lot of like fantasy creatures and stuff, but um,
mhm.
yeah,
Well, it's a weird. It looks weird in the trailer. Like it all meshes really well together, but it looks weird because it's like there's aspects of the trailer that you're like, oh, this is a Middle Ages movie. Oh, this is a modern day movie, or like there's one point where it looked like it was like the Third Reich kind of like the uniforms and like all the like it looked like Nazis or whatever kind of a
mm-hmm,
look to it. It's like the 40s World War II s style. And then there's times where it looks like more like a fantasy world, and then times it looks like they're using high tech weapons, and it's kind of all over the place with what it's looking like. But like that's not I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm
mm-hmm.
saying like they're pulling a lot of different elements, where it's like it is the sci-fi, it is the fantasy, it is the some probably taking like most of their weapons didn't look like futuristic. It was more like a normal esque looking weapon that shot laser or
Hmm.
something,
I am
other
kind of
than
curious
bullets.
what their take on lightsabers are gonna be, because they had like the glowing swords and stuff in the trailer, so I'm kind of curious what their take on that's gonna be.
Like, yeah, what specifically are those? I
Yeah.
lost a shoe and I have no. Oh wait, no, I found it. I'm good.
Uh
I'm
huh.
good. David, another thing that is coming out. So that's coming out in January of 2024. Can you
No,
believe
it's
it?
coming out in December. It's
2024.
coming out in December.
Nobody cares. So coming out next year in 2024, David, Chris Pratt is racking up the voice talent. Well, he's racking up the voice movies because he does a great job in Mario. Now they are using him in a movie that you probably never heard of this character before. Have you heard of the character of Garfield, the cat that loves lasagna?
What is it with you and cats today?
I don't know, but I found this article earlier. But they are making a Garfield movie. The trailer is out. And Garfield is played by Chris Pratt. And apparently Garfield's dad's gonna be in it, and he is played by none other than Samuel Jackson.
Garfield's dad.
I don't know. That just looks like that's the plot.
Uh huh.
He's gonna be
Um.
like a deadbeat dad, because they show at the beginning of the trailer, like, Garfield was abandoned, and then what's his name? The owner found
Uh.
him.
John.
John? Sounds good. And then John is
It
like
sounds right,
eating
but
a
it doesn't sound
pizza.
right, so we'll go with it. But
It sounds right to me, and I'm gonna stick with it. Nobody can tell me otherwise. His name's John from here on out. Get with it, internet. Anyways, I know I don't have that kind of pull, but I'm gonna make that one day happen. I mean, I will never have the pull, but I'm gonna make it happen. Anyways, so then the trailer comes in, and he's he's eating a pizza at a restaurant, and John looks around and he's looking all around. He's seeing all these families, so happy. And then he turns over because he's at a window. He turns over and Garfield's just sitting there eyeing the pizza. Just smallest tiny little face, and it's just so just droopy little eyes. She just looks so sad. And then the window, because in all restaurants, every restaurant has this. The window has a little panel, and it's like a little. It opens like a little door. So he opens it up. The cat comes in. And he's like, "You hungry, little guy?" And he holds up a pizza. And then all of a sudden, the pizza's gone. The whole entire pizza's gone. Everything's gone. Next thing you know, he's running across the restaurant, eating everyone else's lasagna. And so that's supposed to be the origins of how John got. But anyways, then they show in the trailer where his dad shows up, played by Samuel L. Jackson, this big
mhm.
fat cat, and it sounds like he's supposed to be like a deadbeat that's now trying to come back into Garfield's life. But it's interesting. I mean, Garfield's an interesting character. Um, and I mean, I think Chris Pratt sounds pretty good in it. I wonder, how many more roles like this he's gonna start doing. I mean,
Okay, so
Mario was really good, and I think he did a good job in the role of Mario. And now he's getting another movie. If this one does good, I mean, he's probably gonna be having people out the door being like, "Hey, come be in my movie for this voice acting role."
so the thing is, like, I know everyone right now is kind of hating on celebrity voice actors,
Hmm.
hiring like big names to voice act in movies. But to be fair, Chris Pratt has been voice acting longer than most big celebrity names, because like he did the Lego movie, that was like 2015.
Hmm.
So he has been doing voice acting longer than most everyone else. Most everyone else who's big names. I think a lot of people forget that when he gets these kind of roles. But
Well, you also look at a lot of the older films, like a lot of old Disney films, and the one that's coming to mind right now is Robin Williams playing in Aladdin as the genie.
mm,
But I mean, some of those movies have big name actors, and it's like, yeah, they're still going to use big name actors if they can, because that's going to draw more people in. That's who brings people in.
mm,
But there are some incredible voice actors out there, and they do deserve recognition, um, because they do some incredible work.
mm.
Awkward.
Well, how many more do you have?
That's it
Oh, that's it. Okay.
that I have pulled up.
Okay. Well, See, I'll pick one more to talk about, and then we'll jump into Mockingjay Part two.
You
Two,
don't have any
two.
more, David?
No, I'll pick one more because I've got one, two, three, four more things, but I'll just pick one to talk about. So,
Oh,
um,
why? What are they about?
well, I've got
I
several
have a
different
cat.
things. So, uh,
Okay. I have a cat purring in my ear.
okay, let's talk about this one because I think this one's more on the note of celebrity voice acting.
Okay.
So, did you hear that? And you also mentioned the Mario movie. So, did you hear
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo is making another movie?
No.
So, Nintendo and Sony Pictures are partnering to make a live-action Legends of Zelda movie.
Why live action? I feel like animated's doing really good right now. You know?
And they could make a good animated Zelda movie, but I'm kind of curious to see how they adapt Zelda into live action though.
What do you think they should do for casting for that? Because okay, obviously one of the bigger name actors nowadays that would be around the age that you could cast as this is Tom Holland. But, I feel like
I was about to say.
as much as people love Tom Holland, they're like, stop putting him in everything, you
Yeah,
know?
I was about to say we don't need this to be another Tom Holland movie.
Yeah, like I love the guy. He's great and but he doesn't need to be doing this, you know?
hmm Yeah. Also, one thing that it's kind of an odd decision. So, the producer of this movie is the
Mm-hmm.
same guy who produced all the Sony Spider-Man movies,
The you talking about the Raimi ones or all five of them?
all five of them,
Okay.
and the Sony Spider-Man villain movies.
Okay.
He's also the reason that Spider-Man 3 that they put Venom in it because the original plot was just to have Sandman as the villain, and it was actually going to focus on that character a lot more. And then he's like, "No, I want Venom."
Hmm. Do you have your own cat coming in?
I I, I got it without that. So yeah,
Oh, David, what'd you forget about? Joe, stop.
but yeah,
There's nothing over here.
yeah. So I'm kind of okay. So on one hand, like I think I can't remember who they got for the director, but apparently the director had also done some not so good projects in the past. I can't remember. Hold up. Is it in
I don't
this
know who
article?
does anything.
But anyway, so despite that, I here's the thing. Despite who's involved with on the Sony side of things with this movie, Nintendo is so picky about their brand's images that they're not gonna let Sony mess it up.
Thing is, I mean, like you even hear the stories like when Disney was it's Disney, I think, yeah. When Disney was doing Wreck-It Ralph, they even gave tips about how Bowser would hold his teacup in a tiny little scene. They'd
hmm
do something like that. Like Nintendo is extremely nitpicky when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I don't think there's really much to worry about with them adapting it right.
hmm
Um, because I think with the fact that you know this is Nintendo lending out their brand because they want to make a movie and they don't have the resources to do it means that they have all the control in this. Because I mean, they could back out and be like, "No, you're not doing this the right way. We're backing out of this deal." You know.
hmm Okay, actually,
Um,
never mind. This is the director is Wes Ball, who directed the Maze Runner and the Planet of the Apes, the new Planet of the Apes movies.
I think I've seen one or two of those.
But so he does have a pretty good resume. But like I said, it's just I know a lot of people were concerned with the executive producer. What if let me see if I can find his name.
Bob Iger.
No, this is Sony, not Disney. Oh.
Well, it's got to be a Bob, you know.
hmm But also, Shigeru Miyamoto is also supposed to be involved in this project too, which, he created Mario and Zelda. So,
Yeah. It definitely is showing though. There's a lot of things whenever the Mario movie did come out. Zelda and Starfire, right? What's that? What's that?
Star Fox.
Star Fox were absent from the movie because they're like those are two of their other big IPs, and it's like, well, they probably want to shop around or have other contracts with those to make other movies, and here's another movie coming out with
Okay, now
another IP that wasn't in that.
here's one reason why I am kind of glad it's going to be live action
Mm-hmm.
because so one of the big things people want is them to make a bunch of these Nintendo movies and then have them all lead into a
A
Smash
universe.
Brothers movie. We
That
don't
wouldn't be the
need
worst
it,
thing in the world, though.
but we don't
I
need
mean,
this to
okay,
become a
here's the thing.
cinematic universe.
No, it does not. It does not. But that wouldn't be bad if they made a Smash Brothers
What would be
movie.
the plot of that though?
Kill everyone. Hey, don't the Smash Brother games actually have storylines like some of them?
Some of them do, but it's more with the it's more the fact that they're game characters that
Yeah,
are in a game. Yeah,
you
but
could figure something out with it. But I do agree. It doesn't need to be that way. But
mhm.
yeah. Well, I will be excited to see that when it comes out, and hopefully, when is it supposed to come out, David?
I don't know if there is a release date for it, or even a tentative release date for it.
Probably no earlier than 2025.
Probably it's still like they just announced it, so it's yeah
It's real early in all this.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be happy to see this when it comes out, and hopefully by then I will have played through at least Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Mhm.
Because
Oh, which
I do have that on the dock.
on a side note, Tears of the Kingdom was actually nominated for Game of the Year award, or for the Game of the Year for 2023. So.
Sounds good to me. I'm not gonna complain.
Mhm.
All right. Well, David, I have some thoughts on the movie that we were required to watch, the required viewing for this podcast. I don't know what your thoughts are going to be, but should we go ahead and dive right back on, well, not back on in, but back into what people are actually here for and hearing our thoughts on Mockingjay Part 2?
Let's do it.
Heyo!
Yeah, I'm workshopping some transitions, so hopefully I'll have them done by the time this gets edited, so I can put them in for that. But I am workshopping some transitions, and we should have them on the soundboard next week.
Heyo! Oh no, the car exploded.
Well, that is on the soundboard.
I know, but I felt like if I did it, it'd be better. And I was right.
Oh no, the car exploded!
Okay, well, with that, let's dive right on into Mockingjay Part 2, the movie that never should have been. All right, David, I want to hear your thoughts first, but I'm going to give you my first reaction to this. This was the first time I watched this movie. I hated it. Now, go ahead. Tell me what you think of it.
So, as we mentioned when we covered part 1, these did not need to be two movies. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so the first two Hunger Games movies follow the book so well, and you get that because, like, as we mentioned with both the Hunger Games and Catching Fire, you get into this like the first hour of the movie, the first half of the movie, there's no action. It's all world
Mm-hmm.
building. It's all building up these characters, establishing the story, why the stakes matter.
Mm-hmm.
What are the stakes? So and essentially what they did with Mockingjay Part One, Part Two, because the book follows a very similar formula to the
Mm-hmm.
first two. I mean, obviously it's different because it's not an actual like Hunger Games like the first two were, but it follows a very similar formula. The first half of the book is world building, building up the story, setting the stakes, and then the second half of the book is the action as a result of the first half of the book. And when you split
Yeah.
that into two movies, it doesn't flow well.
This movie was okay. A bunch of different reasons that I think that this movie was bad. A lot of it had to do with what they ended up cutting out. And Sarah made the comment. So I like I said last time, I did actually watch the movie this time. Okay, but last time when we talked about Mockingjay Part One, I actually forgot to watch the. Well, I ran out of time to watch the movie, and so I just listened to the book. Um, and the books are great. And so after watching the movie, after reading the book, I really was like, this is not that good. And it's not, and not even in the realm of like, I always try to give movies the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, they're two separate works. You know, the book, the book and the movie should line up, but like, just because a book and a movie mm, aren't like exactly the same, doesn't mean that a movie based on a book is bad. You know, like you can make a good movie even if you enrage the fans if it's like still a good movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, Usually it's not the case because usually the decisions they make are just stupid. And here's one of them. You know, uh, but I don't feel like okay. So there's not enough of the build up. Like I was telling Sarah, no, okay, I did not pay attention to most of this movie because it did not intrigue me enough to watch intently. That's fault number one. Okay. Um, Granted, I was doing some work while I was doing this, but if I wasn't, I would have been on my phone. Like I know I watched enough. I knew enough about the movie, like watching it. I paid attention enough to know that if I was watching, I would be on my phone because I would not have been intrigued enough. And that's because, like you said, this movie is broken into two parts. So all of the build up for everything is in part one, and this is just the resolution to everything. So we're like, you come into this movie, sure, maybe if you watch part one and then right away watch part two, maybe you have a little bit more. But some things that I had a problem with this in this movie is, okay, so in this movie, Finnick dies, right? That is completely glossed over in this movie. That was not an emotional scene. That had that like Finnick. Finnick is a great character, and you're just here, you're like, oh, he's dead. Yeah, so are a bunch of other people. Like that's basically the same way that it is with him because of the way that they do it in the movie. You know, they don't build up the friendship that Katniss and Finnick have. They don't, Sarah said that the one easy fix they could have done is in the book. They like have Katniss basically like have flashes of Finnick's life, when he right before he dies. You know, they could have very easily done that. You know, to make it a little bit more
And that would have just been another like
intriguing.
30 seconds to the movie, and that yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I would have gladly watched a 2 hour and 2 minute and 30-second movie if that was the case. Um,
What
but
is the actual
I mean,
runtime of
obviously
this?
that would not have completely fixed it, obviously, but that was a big deal. And when I was watching it, Finnick Finnick is a great character. I like Finnick. Okay, and to see that be the way he ends, that just I didn't really care for that.
Mm.
Me and Sarah also were talking about it earlier today. A couple other things that we don't really feel like they did well in the books or in the movies. Sorry. Was like okay, so the Hunger Games have been always been from Katniss's standpoint, always from her point of view, and obviously we still follow Katniss throughout this movie. But like, I don't know. There's there's so little of anything in this movie. Like halfway through, I was like, wait, where's PETA? Where's Haymitch? Are we back on
Yep.
currently? Okay. So if what you just said got recorded, yeah, that's basically all I'm saying is that's like I was watching this movie and halfway through I was like, where are the characters? Because in this movie, because it's all conclusion basically, you're just sitting here and you're like, there's no character development. I mean, obviously there doesn't really need to be as much character development in this, but like there is still character development happening, specifically with Katniss, because she's going through the you know And so, there's obviously a bunch of things with that going on. And I don't know. I also didn't like Coin. Okay, I didn't like the portrayal of Coin because she doesn't come across as a evil character, which she is. She comes across more as just an annoying character, you know?
Mm.
Um, but those are just a couple grievances that I have personally, but I'll let you talk a little bit uh, about what you think of the moves, those things.
Yeah, like I don't. So here's the thing. So the first movie, the Hungry or Mockingjay Part One,
Mm-hmm.
nothing really happens in that movie. Like I, like you said, I was bored. And in this movie, like it's been like 3 weeks since I watched Part One, and even though there was stuff happening, I was still bored.
Yeah.
I went like while I was watching, like normally I do try to give more do more stuff, or actually pay attention more to movies we're talking about on the podcast. Try to get pick up on small details. But no, when I was watching this, I literally just finished up Trailcast trivia, um, finished up some homework I hadn't done yet. Uh, like I
Yes.
was literally working on other stuff while I had this on. I'm just like, and I was watching because it's not on any streaming service that I have. I think it's on Peacock is the only thing I can find it on, but I don't have Peacock. So I was watching it on the DVD on my Xbox, and I was like halfway through. I was wanting to just like I was wishing I could have just like had it on my laptop or something so I could play New Vegas while I'm watching it because like I said I was bored. You don't have you
It,
because like you said maybe if you watch them back to back it might be different, but the first movie is so stretched out, and this movie has no stakes, and there are parts of it that are stretched out and don't need to be don't need to be that stretched out.
this movie completely glosses over, uh, basically glosses over Joanna.
Mm-hmm.
She's barely in the movie, and there's a whole friendship. Yeah, yeah, but like, okay, so I don't know if what I just said got caught on it, but uh, the whole movie cuts out Joanna,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a big character when it comes to Mockingjay as in the book. You know, they condense Finnick's wedding. They just do all these different things. And it's like I understand you're trying to make a movie 2 hours, but like I think we talked about this last time. I would have been fine with this being a 3 hour movie as one part,
the the
two and a
fir-
half 3 hour movie as one part.
the
Because
first movie
I
the
will
first
admit that there is a bunch to this
mm-hmm.
movie.
Yeah, the first movie could have been an hour of this movie, and then they could have had this movie at like the I think it's what 137 minutes. They could have done that.
Yeah.
They could have told that in 2 hours. Told all this in 2 hours. Had the first movie as an hour. The first hour of the movie. Then done this movie as like 2 hours, and actually done better with it. Actually told, because like I said, there are parts that dragged on that they could have condensed, and then the condensed parts that are some of the most interesting parts of the book.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem is that there's like such interesting parts of the book, such emotional
Mm-hmm.
parts of the book. Like, okay, they completely glossed over Finnick's death, and, and they really, really, when Gale and Katniss were talking in District 2 about the trap and the bombing, there's a little foreshadowing for it. But by the time Prim gets killed in the end of the movie, you've forgotten that because you just lost so much interest in the movie.
Mm-hmm. And even Prim's death, which is a huge emotional thing. Even in this movie, like they do make more of a point of it than they do with Fennec's death. But even Prim's death is not really dealt
That
with
big of a deal, yeah.
in the best way in this movie.
Uh, Sarah made the comment that the scene where Katniss is yelling at the cat
Mm-hmm.
is more emotional than Prim's death.
Yeah.
I'm about to start yelling at a cat because she's trying to get into my stuff.
Well, and here's the thing. So like, I've seen this movie before, so I knew when it happened and stuff. But like I said, it had me bored, so I didn't even catch the scene where Prem died because I was bored at that point. I was doing something else. I think I was working on homework at the time, so like I knew I knew when it happened. I knew that was that scene, but I was just like I didn't catch it because it just didn't have my interest.
David, all I have to say now, you remember the episode of Phineas and Ferb where they make the shark and they have that sea captain
Mm-hmm.
with the peg leg? Yeah. You know his catch line was I'm bored of this conversation and he'd walk off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored of this conversation. I'm bored of this conversation. I don't. I get the thing is I just didn't. I really just didn't like the movie. Like I was expecting to like it a lot more than I did,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like after watching the first two Hunger Games, I it really is just a letdown, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's all just
Because
for more money, and
because
it's
like I said,
just it really could have done so much better.
I thoroughly enjoyed the first two movies.
Hmm. Exactly.
They were very well done, very true to the books, and okay. And here's the thing: like these two movies were even still had a pretty decent continuity with the books, but just the way they went about retelling the story,
Hmm.
it just didn't work.
Like you said, a bunch of the things that they cut out, you're just sitting there like, why? Why would you cut that out? And then
Well,
they drag on parts that you're just like,
yeah,
why are you
yeah.
drag?
They cut
It
they
just
cut out stuff, and they spend so much time on like okay when they go into the Capitol and they get trapped in the arena thing.
uh-huh.
They spend so much time on that, which uh, there's a couple really important things that happen there, but they spend so much time on that, but then they just gloss over Fennec's death.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I mean, up until that point, I mean, how much do you really realize that Finnick is there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's not. They really misused that cast in that movie. Obviously they did good with them in some other movies, but they misused them in that specific movie, and it's just a shame because you know, Sarah made this comment. She said that Mockingjay was never her favorite of the Hunger Games books, but Mockingjay is a fitting conclusion to the Hunger Games,
Mm-hmm.
and this movie done right would have done the same. But they just wanted to make more money, and they wanted to split it into two parts. They would say obviously that, oh, there's just too much story and we need to split into two parts. Which, hey, sure, maybe if you did it right, you could have done it in two parts. But they didn't do it right. They messed up in a bunch of different ways. And
Okay,
we're sitting here now with a movie that is just, it's really just not you can't sit and watch it because you're gonna get bored and want to do something else.
if you really wanted to, if you really felt like you didn't have enough time, and I know they'd already made the first two. Well, I don't know. They probably had already made the decision to make four movies when they started making these movies. But the thing is, if you felt like you don't have enough time for the third one, make them mini series and actually, do them justice. Because like, I feel like a book to movie adaptation, like, you can do a good job with that. But if you have like, let's say like 6 hour long episodes or even 4 hour long episodes, you can do a lot more justice to the original, the book. I feel like that, one movie would have been better for this, but I feel like, if you felt like that, you wouldn't have enough time for that. A mini series would have worked so much better. Something that's, like 4 hour long episodes that's bingeable that you can, it kind of reminds me of the Hobbit movies. The Hobbit did not need to be 3 movies. 2 movies I feel like would have worked for the Hobbit, but they stretched it out so much that it just didn't have. Like I said, it's almost the exact same situation with the Hobbit movies and with this. Even though I think the Hobbit movies are more entertaining than this was.
Mhm. Yeah, I know for a fact that. Yeah, that's very true. I know I cut out there,
Hmm.
so hopefully I didn't miss too much.
Well, I try to
Might
keep
cut out
talking.
again. Give me a second. Did I talk? See, that's the thing. Once I get back on here, that's the thing, David. Is if I was you were having problems and I was the one having to talk, we wouldn't even notice you're gone. I talk so much.
Hmm.
I know it's a problem.
Hmm.
Um, well, David, I don't really have a whole lot more to say. We're pretty much repeating ourselves over and over again with this. So, do you want to go ahead and jump into Trailcast trivia?
Hmm. We can do that. But on one note, I do want to point out the fact that I actually kind of like the fact that we doing Trailcast news. I don't feel like we have to talk on our main body for so long. The main body of the podcast for so long.
Yeah, that will definitely not be the case. Well, okay, we're not talking about too many more Star Wars movies that I think we just are gonna have to talk for hours on. But if that were the case,
No, we will
you
probably
would
get
have a
into.
problem.
Well, so I think with Trailcast trivia from now on, I'm gonna try to limit it to just 10 questions. Save time because today
Okay.
is only 10 questions. So I'm gonna try to
Yeah,
do
I
that
saw
for now.
that.
But just to save a little bit more time.
I only have to get
And
5 right. Only 5.
hmm yeah. Anyway, yeah, we
I'm
can
getting
move on. We can move
acupuncture.
on to Trailcast trivia.
My cat is clawing my back. I'm getting acupuncture.
Cat you puncture.
Acupuncture. Yes, it actually low key feels a little good. This a little good, but all right. Let's go ahead and drive. Let's drive right on in. This is not Fast and the Furious. Let's dive right on into the Trailcast trivia, David. Let's get that
All right.
50%. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hmm. Like I said, I am gonna try to workshop an intro for Trailcast trivia this week. If I don't have that done, then too bad. But I'm gonna try to get that done. So
Then not too bad, David. I'm gonna have to come and wait. Wait a minute. My smacking my fist against my hand in a very threatening way is not coming over on the mic. So David, wait, ooh, let me cut off my suppression. Wait, let me do this. It didn't work. Okay, so basically, David, you'll be in trouble.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna Thor on you. I'm gonna sick Thor on you.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Now you have the pressure.
without further ado, let's do further and jump right in.
I'm gonna do everything for.
Question number 1. When was The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 released? Was it A, 2012, B, 2013, C, 2014, or D, 2015?
Right. Everyone who listens knows the drill. So, anyways, I know again, David. I know the specific date. At least I'm pretty sure, and we can figure
I
out if
think
that's right or
I
not.
think the specific day was like November 20th or something, but
Yes.
what year was
November
it?
20th, 2015.
That is
I got this wrong last
correct.
time
Because
because
you
I
said
forgot that there was
because
two parts.
you said
It has
part
been
1
20.
came out in 2015 when in fact part 2 did.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I
Yes.
did. I
And
did.
again, it was
So,
hard. It was actually
but
kind of
I'm right.
yeah. Again, it was actually kind of hard to find trivia for just part 2. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
So some of them I did pull from like trivia question like quizzes and stuff that I found online. But I did fact check them better than last time because last time and for part 1 I had ones that were some questions that were kind of poorly phrased, so I did fact check these better. So
Well, good. I don't want poorly phrased questions because you're stupid.
question number 2. What is the Nut? Is it A, a capital military base, B, a rebel military base, C, a capital airship, or D, a squirrel's lunch?
I don't know. I got them between my legs, but I'm gonna go with the Capitol Military Base. We are supposed to keep this family friendly. I guess I shouldn't have said that, but oh well, I already did. So let's go.
I think what you said wasn't family friendly got cut off, but because I didn't hear the first part of
Oh,
that
good.
statement. But
Oh well, all I said was that I had two between my legs. But that's just because I'm eating a packet of nuts right now. There's only two left.
anyway, A is correct. It was a capital military base. Question
50%.
number 3. What are the aircraft used across Panem called? Is it A, hoverjets, B, hovercraft, C, vertibirds, or D, quinjets?
I have absolutely no idea. I know Quinjets, at least, I've heard that in like Marvel stuff. So I'm gonna just leave that off to the side, even if that's the answer. I don't care. Um, Hover jets. Just go with A again. It could be vertibirds, but that just sounds a little stupid. But that doesn't mean that's not it, because there's some stupid things. So I'm gonna go with A. Hover jets. That's A. That's A. And we're just gonna go from there. Not look back. No looking back. No regrets.
The correct answer is B. They refer to them just as hovercraft, even though they are technically hoverjets, but they refer to them just as
Well, you had
hovercraft.
two options in there.
Yeah.
You had two options in there, and I corrected the wrong one.
So that puts you at 2-1. Now
50%.
question number 4. Now this was one that I did find on a site, and I chose to include this one. This is actually from part 1, Mockingjay part 1, but I chose to include this one strictly for the multiple choice answers. Question number 4. During the novel, Finnick reveals secrets about President Snow. What was one of the secrets Finnick reveals? Is it A, President Snow poisoned all of the other I can't read. Option A. President Snow poisoned all of the other people capable of winning the throne over him. B. President Snow won the very first Hunger Games to take the throne. C. President Snow was allergic to hay, and if hay was thrown on him, he would blister up to near death. Or option D. President Snow was actually an alien who destroyed the planet he used to live on.
You really just like. What were you smoking when you did this?
No, like I said, I pulled this.
Don't tell me it was nothing.
I pulled this from another site, multiple choice answers and all, and I chose this because of the multiple choice answers. So.
Oh no! Hey, I believe you. I totally believe you. Wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge. David's okay. He poisoned those who he thought and saw as threats. Is my answer. So we're going back to A. A is always right because A starts with always. Always starts with A.
What?
David, don't question it. Answer my question. Am I right?
Well, not about A starting with always, but yes, you are correct that A is the correct answer in this situation.
I'm pretty sure A starts with always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Question number 5. Who played Alma Coin? Alma Coin. I cannot read today, y'all.
You're so close.
Alma Coin in Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. Is it A. Elizabeth Banks, B. Kate Winslet, C. Naomi Watts, or D. Julianne Moore?
I have no idea. I'm gonna go with Julianne Moore. It sounds right. I know Kate Winslet and Elizabeth Banks. I know the names. I don't know who they are. And if I saw them, I'd probably like, oh yeah, them. But I don't know. Anyways, oof. Well, that cat just died. All right. Anyways, D. Juliet. What's the last? Julianne Moore. Whatever. Yeah.
That is correct. You are good at stumbling into success.
No, it's educated guesses, David. It's not stumbling. I'm guessing educationally.
So you are 4-1.
Yeah. Look it up in a dictionary. I'm right.
Question number 6. What is an avox? Is it A, a bird, B, a capital sympathizer, C, someone who had their tongue removed, or D, a rebel sympathizer?
Oh, none of that came over the mic, so that just was an awkward silence.
Yeah, I just was watching. I just was watching you making weird faces. I didn't hear anything.
Well, I noticed that after I looked at my screen and I saw that the green little light around the outside wasn't lighting up. I was like, well, I'm over here just acting stupid for no reason. It's a person who has their tongue cat out. That's what an avox is. Yeah, because servants are better when they don't talk.
Okay, moving on from that. Yes, that is correct. Avox is someone who has had their tongue removed.
As you can see, I have all kinds of servants around me, you know, so yeah, that's definitely the case here.
Question number 7. Who becomes the new president of Panem? Is it A, Commander Undersea, B, Commander Paler, C, Commander Mason, or D, Commander Cresta?
Underwear?
Undersea.
I feel like you made some of these up. Commander Paler is the president of Panem after Katniss kills coins.
Well, someone made all of these up, but...
Yeah, and I think you made them all up. Well, except for the right answer. Commander Paler.
That is correct. It's Commander Paler.
I know.
Yeah, I know you do.
David, what am I at?
You're at 6-1.
My house. I'm at my house. What? Ooh, boom, get roasted. Stupid.
Question number 8. Who directed The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2? Was it A. Francis Lawrence? Francis Lawrence. Going back to not being able to read. B. Westball. C. Tim Burton. Or D. Suzanne Collins.
A Tim Burton Hunger Games. It definitely had to be rated R. Tim Burton. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting. Francis Lawrence is who it is. The only reason I remember that is because he has the same last name as Jennifer Lawrence, and they are not related in any way.
That is correct. It was A. Francis Lawrence. Yeah, I guess Westball directed Maze Runner. And the Planet of the Apes movies.
Because you mentioned him.
Yeah,
I knew it looked familiar.
And then Tim Burton. I would put that on there, but that would be an interesting Hunger Games.
It definitely would be.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Question number 9. Who composed the soundtrack for The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2? Was it A. John Williams, B. Thomas Newman, C. James Newton Howard, or D. John Powell?
Should know this one, but I forgot it. John Powell. Boom, boom, boom. We're just... Next question. Go.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. The correct answer was C. James Newton Howard.
I knew I should have gone with the 3 names.
Question number 10. Final question. Not quite. Or what did you say last week? Question number next.
Yeah. That's from someone. Someone does that. I don't know who does it, though.
Okay.
It's from something.
Yeah. What is the ultimate fate of President Coriolanus Snow? A. He was executed by Katniss. B. He committed suicide. C. He was killed by the crowd. Or D. He was sentenced to life in prison.
He was killed by the crowd or choked on his blood. One of the two, but one definitely happened. I mean, so with the options you gave me, it was C, but could have choked on his own blood.
Well, because I think in the book it says that, but in the movie it doesn't make that clear at all, so that's why I put just the killed by the crowd. But yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I do think they don't leave it as vague as they do in the book, but in the movie, I mean, you know, depending on how much blood he was coughing up, which it did seem like a decent amount of it, he could have choked on it before the crowd actually killed him. But it's kind of like, if one didn't get him, the other would have.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it doesn't really, like, make that... I mean, yes, he's coughing up blood, but it doesn't really make that clear that he's, like, choking on it to death, you know. But yeah, that is correct. You actually gave me more than the answer that was there. So yes, that is correct. Putting your final score at 8-2.
Man, that sucks. I got 50%. I got that 50%.
Hey, honestly, this one was really easy. So I was actually wondering if you were going to make the sweep this episode, but
yeah, well, you know what? Your expectations are stupid, just like you. And I will do what I want, and I am not a failure. because my mom loves me. Okay, sometimes.
What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? Yeah. So
My
Wesley,
cat over here
we
trying to
have not
climb up on
talked.
it.
We have not
What?
talked in what's new with you in a while. Actually, it's been a week. I mean, we skipped a week. You know. You know what I mean.
No, I don't. I got a cat.
You have a cat?
You have a cat.
Oh, what's his name?
Fluffles.
So Wesley, why did you get another cat?
It was an accident. But it was so cute. Okay, I have become a cat person. I used to really not like cats. I was like, dogs are way superior. And then I had a dog, and I had a cat, and the dog took a lot more work, and so I decided that I like cats because they are like me. They're antisocial, and they don't take much work.
Fair enough.
The dogs have really been getting on my nerves recently. So, yeah, cats. I'm apparently a cat person, but I apparently act like a cat too. So, you know, I don't like people. I want
So,
to be left alone. And
so,
I want to
does that?
cuddle.
So, when you say you're a cat person, do you mean you're a person who likes
Oh, wow.
cats, or are you saying you're a cat person?
No, I don't look like Tigress.
Okay.
Which, you know what? We didn't talk any about the movie that will be coming up as of releasing of this coming what, Thursday or Friday, right? Whenever that movie comes out.
When this movie or when this podcast episode goes up, it'll have been or just had its opening weekend.
So that's this weekend that
Yeah.
the movie's
Yes.
coming out.
So we are talking
And we didn't
about.
talk about it.
Yeah. So we are talking about uh the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes this coming week, next week.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a
We'll
lot
be a
planned.
week late. We'll
We've
be
got
about 2 weeks late.
yeah, we've got a lot planned for that episode though, so it should be good. It's gonna be different than our normal format, but we've got a lot planned.
Which I need you to explain to me what we're doing because you sent a text, but I kind of read it. Anyways, David,
Mm-hmm.
what have you been up to?
Uh, school, work, New Vegas,
We live pretty
Invincible.
boring lives, don't we? Invincible.
Oh man,
I just I just watched The Office.
season two. The first two episodes of season two, I've seen. I know by the time this episode goes up, the third one will be out because it comes out the same day as Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But I've only seen the first episode or first two episodes as of recording of season two as of recording this podcast episode, and man, those are good episodes. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this season. You need to finish that show. It's
I
really good.
I I will get around to that as soon ASAP, as soon as possible.
Hmm.
ASAP. About 2 years. There's a backlog.
So you'll finish it once season three starts coming out.
Probably about season 3, season 4, season 10, somewhere in there.
Well, season two
They'll
took
start
like
doing live action.
well season two took like 3 years. So
Season 3, season 4, season
but
10.
it's just as bad as Stranger Things, honestly. I mean, it's good, but as bad for making you wait.
As long Yeah, well, I really on the Stranger Things train. So as long as it's not like Stranger Things, then I'll be good.
What do you not like about Stranger Things?
I just didn't get into it.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like I didn't get into The Walking Dead, you know? Like, it just didn't intrigue me enough to keep watching. And I watched about the first season. I watched most pretty much the first season, maybe the first season of Stranger Things, and then I was just like, nah,
Hmm.
just wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. Sarah loves it. She was watching it, and I watched some of it, some of what she was watching, and she did basically explain. No, that was The Walking Dead. Never mind. I think she kind of explained the plot to me, but it was
I don't
what it
know. The
was.
Walking Dead, like, I watched like 4 seasons, 5 seasons. It's just,
Hmm. It's a lot to it
it's a
for no
lot
reason.
to it, and there's like, I almost feel like with The Walking Dead, the good or the bad parts of it outweigh the good. So like, to get to some of the like really good story arcs, you've got to watch some just kind of meh story arcs.
Hmm.
And so, that's why I'm just like, same thing with Gotham. I can't
Hmm.
I I can't get through Gotham just because it's like it. And I know that like later on there are some, it gets better, it gets really good. But the first like the like second season, I think it is just so meh. Or it might be the third season I'm thinking of. Whichever. Like I
Yeah.
got through like the first couple seasons and I just lost interest.
Yeah. I never watched it. I saw it when it was first coming out, had the promos for it, but I never really had much interest in watching it. I
Mm.
mean, what, it's a Batman TV show without Batman?
Yeah, it's following Jim Gordon, which Bruce Wayne is a
Which
character in it because
could be good.
he's like young, or Bruce Wayne's young, and I think at the very
Hmm.
end he does finally become Batman, but
Hmm. How many seasons of it is there?
like
'Cause it's
six or
done
seven,
shooting, right?
like 6 or 7.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
Q Q Q Q Q.
So what have you been doing other than watching The Office?
I was gonna play some one of my Switch games the other day, but then I got on it and it was dead, so I had to charge it. And then when I did finally get on it a little bit later, it had to have an update, and so I never ended up playing it. Um,
Oh, did you see
that's my
did
life.
you see they released the final booster course for Mario Kart?
I did
Booster
not
Kart.
have been on Mario Kart in a while.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Do you have the DLC tracks?
No, we're wanting to get it eventually. We
Okay.
just
Well,
we're still. I mean, we're not really
all
making all the tracks, but we're collectively, all the tracks, and I think we're,
mhm.
maybe about halfway through or whatever. We don't
Okay.
play it that often, so.
Okay. Well, yeah, the all the DLC tracks are out now. So
Okay. Okay.
plus
Yeah, I do want to get it eventually.
like 8 new characters.
Okay.
Let me see if I can remember all the characters off the top of my head. So they added so you know all the characters that are in the base game. Well, it's not even the base game because the Switch version is the base version from the Wii U plus the Wii U DLC, and then they're adding more DLC to it from the Switch. But the base version of Deluxe, you know all the characters that are in that. And
Hmm.
then they added
Hmm.
what all the characters. They added Birdo, PD Piranha. I forget the name of the character, but the caterpillar. Um,
Okay.
I'm forgetting some, but I know they added Pauline, uh, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, and there's a few more that I'm
Okay.
forgetting. But yeah.
I might have a new favorite character then. I like the Kongs.
hmm Wasn't Diddy Kong your main on Wii, Mario Kart Wii?
No, I used Yoshi more. And then I would use Koopa, the skeleton Koopa.
Dry
I'd
Bones,
use that
yeah,
one.
yeah. Because
Eyebones.
yeah, I was kind of disappointed because they didn't bring my favorite track from Wii to in this booster course. Which it was
Which
it
one's
was
that?
it was one of the DS tracks that was on Wii, but one of my favorite tracks that was on Wii. Delfino Square.
Yes. That one is an amazing track. I forgot that they don't have that one. They do have one that's similar.
Yeah, they have several that are
Um,
similar, but they did bring um Wii Rainbow Road in this most recent one.
did they? Oh, so that's one of the DLCs. Okay,
Yes.
because I was say in the normal one, they don't have that that course, and I really like that one.
Well, here, let me actually grab my Switch and see what all Wii tracks, because I know you and I grew up playing Mario Kart on the Wii because we had Wii's. Uh, I know you played some of the DS ones. I didn't really play the DS ones, but Wii
I
was the
didn't
one we
play it
played
enough
most.
to know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't play it enough to know all the tracks, but I played it a little
yeah.
bit.
So give me one sec. You can keep talking.
Oh, E-I-E-I-O. Okay, wait, how's that song start? It goes, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on his farm he had a David. Hi, David. Nobody's talking about you. E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah, no. I'll figure out what you said when I edit this episode.
You know, I used to say that all the time. Now the turns have tabled.
How the turns
The
table.
shoes on the right foot, left foot, back foot. It's facing the other way. It's turned around.
Uh huh.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well.
Remind me, since we switched editing softwares, if you need my sign in for stuff.
Yeah, I forgot you did that, and I'm gonna have to figure out that software too.
It's really not that hard, but you might want to look up a couple videos on it. I felt like it went smoother, but we can talk more about it later.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah. So the characters that I forgot were Kamek and Peachette.
Chat.
Yeah. You know the character Toadette,
Mm-hmm.
and you know the character Princess Peach.
Mm-hmm.
Combine them.
Yeah, and I know what Jet is.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting character.
Yeah. And they also gave you all the amiibo skins for the Miis for free for some reason.
How
Anyway,
much is the DLC?
it's 25. I think.
I thought that's what I remembered it looking like.
Yeah, I think it's 25. But I mean, like,
Is it two separate ones? Is it two separate ones or all one?
nope, it's all one. It's all one.
That's great.
But it doubles the number of tracks in the game, and you get a few extra characters. So, yeah. All right. So, let's see. The Wii tracks that are in the base game, or there are tracks that were on Wii that are in the base of Deluxe are, let's see. Well, I know Warriors Gold Mine. Yep, there it is. Warriors Gold Mine. Um,
I like that one.
Grumble
That was like one of my favorites
Grumble
when
Volcano.
Rainbow Road came out.
Mm-hmm.
That one's already been on there, isn't it?
No, I'm talking about these are the ones that are in the base of Deluxe. I'll get the ones that came out.
Okay. We are not talking about the same thing. Okay, I'm on track now.
Yeah, so Warriors Gold Mine, Grumble Volcano, and Moo Moo Meadows were in the base of Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the booster course, they added, let me see, where are they? Coconut Mall, which that's also a really good one.
Oh, yes! I love that. That was like my favorite one growing up.
Yep.
For some reason.
Mushroom Gorge.
That one is good.
Maple Treeway.
I like that one.
Let's see. DK Summit. That's another really good one.
Yes.
Waluigi Stadium, which that was a GameCube, but it was on Wii.
I like that one. That one was pretty good.
Moonview Highway.
I love that one.
Koopa Cape.
I liked it. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite. It was kind of bland.
Yeah. DK Mountain, Daisy Circuit,
I liked that one. That was okay.
and Wii Rainbow Road.
Loved that one. The
Mm-hmm.
thing was, everyone was like, "Oh, this is so hard. It's like the hardest track," and I was like, "Sure." As I'm one-handed cruising in first place, a lap ahead of everyone. That was a fun one. Now I will say this: the Switch is harder.
Mm-hmm.
The Wii was easy. The Switch is
But
harder.
so
I'm
now,
having a hard time with
so
the
now
Switch.
that means we have 5 Rainbow Roads in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah, so we could have a race of just Rainbow Roads.
Well, you could have had that to begin with. Now you have to rid of one.
Well, there were 3 in the base and then 2 in the booster course.
What's the other one you have in the booster course? Was that one from?
Rainbow Road from the 3DS. So Mario Kart 7, Rainbow Road.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. And then the ones that are in the base game are Rainbow Road for Mario Kart 8. The new one from Mario Kart 8. Then Rainbow Road from the N64, from Mario Kart 64, and then Rainbow Road from the SNES from Super Mario Kart.
I will have to get that sometime. I do not. I don't play a lot. I don't have time to play a lot, but I do want to, and eventually I hope I have
But
time.
on the bright side, though, if
And,
you're playing online with someone who has the booster course or booster tracks, you can play all of them.
that's good.
Yeah. So
That'd be good. And
so
I'm sure that I mean Thanksgiving's coming up, and a lot of times around that time we do play. I don't know if we will this year, but I mean a lot of times we play around the holidays. We'll play games on the Switch, and maybe we'll end up playing some of those. But
well, and
we'll see how those go.
I think just about all the cousins have Switches now, so we could probably do almost fill up a lobby for with 12 people.
Yeah, I think everyone has one. So everyone in my family has one. Me and Sarah both have one because we both have um we have 2 Switches. Um and everyone in your family has one,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Robert has 2 of them. Emma has one. Scott has one. Maggie has one,
Well,
and I'm sure Sammy and Luke probably have one.
Rob doesn't have 2 anymore because he sold one to Samantha.
Okay, so now Sammy has one. So I was about to say I
So
knew they probably had
so
one.
Sammy and Luke both have. I don't know if they both have Mario Kart though, but Sammy and Luke both have one. Uh, so yeah, it's what 3,
Everyone has
7,
everyone has one.
8.
If everyone doesn't have one, there's like one short.
So I technically, if everyone has Mario Kart and has a Switch with us, well, if we do local play, it doesn't matter. But there's 11, so we could almost fill up a lobby.
Yep.
And actually, you can do split screen online too, so we could fill up a lobby.
I think me and Sarah only have. I mean, I think we have it on digital download. It's only on my account, so we'd probably only be able to play with one.
Well,
But
the thing is, you have
know.
you have a regular Switch, so you could do split screen, you and Sarah,
Yeah,
and
that's
play
true. We could
online,
do that.
which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That
That's something you can do.
Mario Kart 8 supports local play online, like split screen local play online.
That is nice. That is a nice
Mm-hmm.
aspect of that. Um, well, I don't know if we'll do that at Thanksgiving, but I will say I'm definitely looking forward to Thanksgiving. Um, one way or another, it usually tends to be a fun thing
Mm-hmm.
for our families to get together. I mean, that's the biggest thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's
Which
just a time for families to get together.
the week this episode comes out is actually Thanksgiving week. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, yes. For those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, have a very merry Thanksgiving. And for those of you who do not, Christmas is right around the corner.
Well, I think
Well,
most,
holidays.
I think the majority of our audience is American, because
Well, yeah, but I mean, I do see the stats thing. It looks like some people are from outside of the U.S.
yeah,
I don't
that's
know how
true.
consistently people like that listen, but if there is anyone listening to this, and most of the world is smarter than America, so I wouldn't doubt that they probably know some English or English. Americans are stupid. We just know English and not very well. But
Hmm.
you know, but no one should get offended. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
and whatever. So anyway, for those of you, yes, happy, merry, happy, have a great Thanksgiving and enjoy your families. And which most of this is family who probably listens to this, so I guess, you know, enjoy our company if you can.
Well, I mean, at least with you, I mean, for most of the family, they just get to have you in small doses, so it's not like me who has to talk to you every week.
That's true. That's true. I can't really say much about you on that line because you don't do much. You've really mellowed out in a lot of ways. I bring out the worst in you, but you've mellowed out.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult.
I don't know. Take it however you want. I don't care. I'm not here to help anyone's feelings. I don't care if I offend you,
Hmm.
specifically you. But exactly. David,
Well, you
what
know how
else do we
easily
have?
offended I get, so.
I know you're such a wuss. All right, David, what else do we have to talk about this week on the podcast?
I think that's about it, and we finished like 2 hours and 40 minutes, or I don't know, 2 hours, an hour and 40 minutes. So like, honestly, pretty short.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, going going into this, I didn't think that we'd have much to say about Mockingjay Part Two.
No.
My general thoughts on it were I just didn't really care for it too much. So I figured this would be a little bit shorter, even having the couple segments that we have.
Hmm.
Um,
But hey,
you know,
yeah. So for those of y'all who stuck around to the end of the podcast, go or check out next week. Talking about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Maggie's gonna be back on it. If you aren't familiar with who Maggie is, she's our cousin. She did the Parks and Rec.
yeah.
She talked about Parks and Rec with us a few months back. So if you're interested in that, check it out next Monday. But as for today, I believe that's all we have.
Real quick, right? What I don't. We usually say something about like the video, subscribe, yada yada. Which do that if you're on YouTube, like it. But if you've listened this whole way, you don't have to do it right now, but make a note of it. Do so at some point after listening to this. Tell one person to
Hmm.
listen to this podcast. Just one person. Just tell one of
Yeah.
your friends, and not just anyone. Don't just walk up to some random person and be like, "Hey, listen to this," or don't go to your mother and be like, "Hey, listen to this podcast." Your mother has no idea any of this. Go to someone that you know will enjoy this, and just say, "Hey, these people that I listen to, this my family member, whatever, they do a podcast. They talk about things that you may enjoy. Go check them out."
Hmm.
You don't have to force them to listen to it. You don't have to force them to do anything, but tell them to listen to this. Okay. Also, if you're that person, if anyone has done this and actually listened to me, check out our channel, check out some of the other videos, and if you like it, hey, consider subscribing because that really helps us out, and consider watching a lot more of our videos because that helps us out even more than you subscribing. So, I wanted to add that there. We don't do this often. I'm not going to do this all the time because I want it to be, hey, when you hear this, maybe you actually do it. But tell one person, just one single person,
Mm.
when you
I,
listen
I
to it.
mean, I mean, hey,
New person, tell one single person.
I mean, hey, it's Thanksgiving week. You're gonna be seeing people. Just, you know, yeah, let's them know. Um,
Yeah.
I think what one thing Wesley and I had set for goals for ourselves, and we're almost there. But on YouTube, we wanted to get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year. We are almost there. So, hey, you might be able to help us make it happen.
Yeah. I will say that I would like them to be a better engaged subscriber. So hey, if you're listening to this and you know someone who may just subscribe to the chat, don't do that. We don't want non-engaged subscribers. We want to build an actual community here of people who actually like what we talk about and want to engage in conversations with some of the stuff that we are discussing and enjoy what we make. Obviously we're new at this. I mean, David, we've only been doing YouTube for 2 years,
Mm.
which wow, 2 years, but only 2 years. 2 years is not a long time. So we have a lot to learn. We have a lot of things to figure out when it comes to YouTube. And so, with that being said, we're not going to have the best quality. We're not going to have the best anything really, but we're working at it. And hopefully, we can make something that you do enjoy, even if it's lower quality. We're trying to make things that you enjoy, and we do work really hard at this. So, that being said, I think we can wrap this up and stop boring people. Uh, but we appreciate all the support that we get. And David, let's head to an outro.
Alrighty. Well, explorers, that's about all the time we have for today.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Let us know what you thought in the comments down below, or you can DM us on Instagram at DownTheRabbitTrailYT.
Do not forget to tell your friends, your single friends, to join us next week on the Trailcast.